the top 3 bets that you should make in the NFL or college football. Now, number 3, right off the top, is going to be totals. Totals you can exploit, but there's one thing you need to worry about when it comes to totals is being able to bet on and off key numbers. So you need to understand exactly what the key numbers are for totals in college football and the NFL. I'm going to throw them up here in the video so that way you can see exactly what those numbers are. But it's very crucial, okay? Because when you're betting totals, you need to understand if you're betting an over, well, you might have to cut the number back, an alternate line, a point, 2 points maybe, to be able to set yourself up so that way you could hit an over where others, if they bet what the sportsbook gave them, they end up losing. Same exact thing with the under, just the opposite. Now, let's say, for example, an over-under is 49, and you want to bet the under 49 in that matchup. Well, what you would do is you would go and you would exploit literally betting the alternate number, and you would go under 49.5. Because now there is an extra possession that they need to score in order to go over for you to lose. Now, if you bet what the sportsbook gave you, guess what? You would end up probably losing if they got close to that number. Buying some points in totals is very valuable. That's why that's the 3rd best bet that you could do, is being able to alternate numbers for totals. Now, number 2 is going to be in the same genre as number 1. It goes to player props. Player props you can severely exploit because the variables of what it comes down to when they're playing comes down to that player. It's not everybody on the team has to perform. It's either that player is going to do it or they're not. It's really what it comes down to. And statistics and probability, you could really adapt towards the player, and you could pretty much guess exactly what they're going to do in that game that they're about to play. So you need to understand player props in the NFL, such as passing yards for a quarterback, you could severely exploit. So, for example, let's say Patrick Mahomes on the season averages 280 yards passing. Just say that, for example. But he has a matchup going against a team that is favorable that doesn't have a really good secondary. So what you would do is you would go and you would check out his average, and you'd be able to see exactly what his average is on the season going against teams that are pretty bad that have a bad secondary. Now, his average against those teams could be like 290 or whatnot. So right there, you have a probability that you could exploit. Now, if the number is a little bit closer, let's say to his average, it's like 275, 276, you could buy an alternate line to over 250 yards. Yeah, it's going to be probably minus 200 or something like that. But guess what? Your probability on that could be 70, 80, 90% sometimes. And just like that, you set yourself up for success on any given Saturday or Sunday. Player props and probabilities go hand in hand as the 2nd best bet that you could possibly do. Because like I said, there's less variables, and you can really look at the statistics and the analytics and pretty much guess exactly what they're going to do in that game that you're about to bet on. Now, this is the number 1 best bet that I like to do in college football or the NFL. And it's going to be, like I said, player prop, going back just like number 2, but it's a specific player prop. The player prop is going to be the passing yards on a quarterback, the alternate passing yards. The reason why is because you want to bet on a player prop where that person's going to have the ball the whole game. Who controls the game? The quarterback. That's who controls the game in the NFL, college football. That's who controls the whole aspect and the dynamic of the game. So that is the player prop that you want to be able to focus on. So once you're able to focus on that single prop, which is the passing prop, then you are able to exploit that with the probabilities of what they're going to go over or under the certain number that they have been given. And like I said, you need to understand to take the statistics, the average, the probability, you put them all together, and you pretty much can guess exactly what their passing yards is probably going to be for the game that you're about to bet on. But what I like to do with player props for passing is the over passing yards. And I like to alternate that number down to below what their average is just on the season, not even just on the matchup that they're doing. But I do like to have a favorable matchup in the secondary for passing yards prop, because here's probability aspect of it. Again, if a team has a bad secondary, either going against a quarterback that averages 275, 280 yards a game, the over-under number, usually in that would probably be like 300 yards. But the alternate number you could buy down to 275 or whatnot. Might be minus 160, minus 170. But the probability that that gives you for them to be able to hit that number is astronomical. It's 80, 85% sometimes. So you could set yourself up for success long-term in the NFL just focusing on passing props. That's why That's the number one best bet that I like to do when it comes to the NFL and it comes to college football, because you could heavily exploit it and the probability is huge sometimes, depending on the matchup. So let's go through those three one more time. Number 3, totals. Alternate numbers on totals. I love to bet those because, again, if you can alternate a number under a key number, then guess what? You're going to set yourself up for success, whether it be the over or the under, just depending on what you're looking at. Number 2, player props, whether it be passing yards, rushing yards, receiving yards. All those player props you can heavily exploit because, like I said, when it comes down to it, it's really just that one player that either needs to do this or that. That's it. And coming in at number 1 is going to be the alternate passing yards on a quarterback, because who else would you rather bet on than the person that is going to have the ball the entire game? And you can heavily exploit that and find high probability plays when you really dive into the analytics and the statistics behind the passing yards going against the secondary that they're playing on any given Sunday or Saturday. So those 3 right there, if you just stick to those for the NFL and college football, you will set yourself up for success. As always, guys, I'm Frank with Linemaker Sports. I'll see you guys in the next video. Till then, I'm out.